Good morning, everyone, and welcome to 2022 Spring Ohigan service. We are going to chant Sanbujo followed by the chanting of Hanjusan, and then we will read the Ryogemon in Japanese and English, and followed by Dharma Talk. So please join me in Gassho. Please put your palms together. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda. We gathered here today to observe the spring Ohigan service. May the fragrance of the incense teaches us the purity of our intentions. May the beauty of the flowers offered remind us of the delicate truth of life's impermanence. May the light that burn brightly on the altar lead our thoughts to Amida's light of wisdom, which dispels the darkness of our selfishness. Please 合唱。ナモキエ仏、ナモキエ法、ナモキエ僧。I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. ナモアミーダ仏、ナモアミーダ仏、ナモアミーダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏。ナモシシン奇妙来西方阿弥陀仏ナモ阿弥陀仏ナモ阿弥陀仏ナモ阿弥陀仏ナモ阿弥陀仏ナモ阿弥陀仏ナ釈迦如来真法道少女小言無小税移動者馬糞敬義発想上仏道修上惑星人伝二乗法惑星菩薩涅槃人惑前惑頓妙苦人母二生見相上根性理社会無薬鈍言無知難介護ナモ阿弥陀仏ナモ阿弥陀仏ナモ阿弥陀仏ナモ阿弥陀仏ナ陽楽境地右旋前芸宇万語宿小不体環行弥陀教等世即税頓下菩提像一日七日千勝仏妙談周遊小安楽一義海だ涅槃国即徳大小無所万語宿実難俗 一自煩の百千言略大者馬小母人六道五者公未語ナモアミダムナモアミダムナアミダムナモアミダムナモアミダムナモアミダムナモアミダムナモアミダムナ弥大寺法神寺頓社おいぐ菩提ネウオブ将楽衆法宗家修道妙法蔵四十八願因寺法一日誓願異種上中坊小言名極楽五大官病無限量ナモアミダムナモアミダムナモアミダムナモアミダムナガトクボダイトウシンザ天狗五歳道修上真相公明聖法会公正義有償皆無薬一日公明相続せうせう脈念仏往生人欲非実法勝負国極楽安心実税所ナモアミダムナモアミダムナモアミダムナモアミダムナモアミダムナモアミダムナ本師釈迦修行 行道修上一切如来説法弁躍動今日釈迦尊随記説法皆無薬獲得語源有心門門門不動八万四異滅無明加護因利見即是弥陀語一生少年在会場南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無無弥陀偶然力が自が公衆者ば自と以来上法楽現見如来に門も心情十分起源非我語今日四方国実税者ば本師力脈非本師知識観弥陀浄土運河義徳正浄土法師音南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無願にしくどく平等聖祭道本菩提心往生安楽 Namandabts, 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 namandabts. Now we are going to read Ryogemon. Ryoge Shutsugon. もろもろの造業雑種、自力の心を振り捨てて、一心に阿弥陀如来、我らが今度の一大事の御所、御助けそうらへと頼み申して候。頼む一年の時、往生一条、御助け事情と存じ、この上の称名は、ご恩報者と存じ、喜び申し候。この恩断り弔問申し訳候こと、ご解散承認ご出世のご恩、次第僧正の前知識の浅からざるご関係のご恩と、ありがたく存じ候。この上は定めを課せらるる恩をきて、一号限り守り申すべく候。Ryogemon 2 I rely on Amida Buddha with my whole heart for the attainment of nirvana. I give up trust in my powerless self and abandon all practices that rely on the false ego. I know that because of Amida's boundless compassion, I am assured of rebirth the very moment I put my trust in Amida. I call the name Namo Amida Butsu in happiness and thanksgiving for the gift of the universal vow. I am grateful for Shinran Shonin and his followers for leading me to this profound teaching. I will try to live throughout my life according to the way of Nembutsu that they have taught. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda.
Heavy clusters of flowers bloomed in the peaceful village of Hino in 1173. Happiness swept through the village when the people learned that a son had been born to the youngest noble and his wife. The villagers and the proud parents hoped that the child would become strong and happy.
The family spent many wonderful hours together. At the age of two, Shinran spoke his first word Namo Amida Butsu while admiring the moon. As a child, he grew up in the warmth of sunshine and friends. He treasured the time he spent listening to his father speak of the Buddha.
Cool stuffed clay, just right for tiny hands to make little Buddha. Statue's life was pleasant, and Shinran enjoyed new adventures every day.
Shinran was 4 years old when he lost his father.
But he often found comfort in his father's words. Buddha will always be with you, though I may be far away.
Changes sometimes bring on sadness. Shinran's mother became very ill suddenly and passed away. Thus, Shinran became an orphan at a very early age. He moved into the home of a kind uncle where he studied the sutras and books of ancient scholars. Visitors often found the serious child reading silently. Everyone was amazed at the boy's gift. He remembered in the lessons.
Loneliness. Even the laughing voices of other children no longer beckoned him to play. Shinran's uncle worried about his nephew's happiness. He often saw the child lost in sad thoughts of his parents.
One day, Shinran remembered his father's wise words to seek comfort in the Buddha. Please take me to the temple. Perhaps I will someday be able to meet my father and mother in the Pure Land. And so the 9-year-old became the youngest priest at Mount Hiei, and it was a new beginning for him as a monk, but
his new life was not easy. He struggled for 20 long years. His research for peace was difficult. He found no answers until
he learned the famous monk named Honen, who lived in the city of Kyoto. Place your trust in Amida and he will always be with you. He is love and compassion. Shinran eagerly learned about Amida Buddha. He was content at last. He had found the long-sought answer.
The people of Kyoto were saddened when Honen and his followers were sent far away. But Shinran looked upon the exile as a chance to spread the teachings of Amida throughout the countryside. Now he could share all that he had learned from his master Honen with people who lived in distant places.
Blinding snow and biting wind, our farmer refuses to give shelter to the cold monks who have lost their way in the storm. He closed the door, thinking that they would go away. In the middle of the night, he was awakened by soft, distant voices. Upon seeing the poor monks huddled together in the snow, the farmer changed his mind and let them into the warmth of his house. The farmer's heart melted at the hearing of Amida's great compassion.
Eager listeners visit the humble monk. They wish to learn about Amida. You can find enlightenment through the Nembutsuge call Amida Buddha. People from far and near came to hear of the Buddha and this love. Of the Buddha's endless love. At last, Shinran had found true happiness in spreading the teaching of Nembutsuge. The peacefulness of the countryside gave the teachings new importance. Shinran became a familiar figure in the rice fields, for he often spoke to the farmers as they worked. After many years in northern Japan, Shinran was allowed to return to the city. There he wrote praises to Amida Buddha to share his teachings with a greater number of people.
Hundreds of years have passed since Shinran's journey throughout Japan. Since then, his teachings have reached people all over the world. Today, young and old visit the temples to learn about the Nembutsuge in which Shinran found happiness.
at home and at school, we follow the teachings of Amida. Whenever we bow our heads and say Namo Amida Butsu, we are reminded that Amida and Shinran are with us.
Now, I would like to share the words from the Raja Sutra. So please join me in Gassho. Please put your palms together. The Buddha land is overspread by countless jewels nets, entirely decorated with gold lace, pearls, and 100,000 kinds of rare and precious treasure. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this year's Spring Ohigan service. A few weeks ago, I had my Facebook post from 2 years ago, and it was about Spring Ohigan service went online. And I remember that I was feeling it will be just a few months of not having in-person services. But here we are, 2 full years, and finally, we are going back to in-person service next Sunday. Aoi was 7 years old, Hikaru was 3 when the pandemic started. Now they are 9 and 5. So you will be surprised to see how much they have grown. And I'm really looking forward to meet you all. But anyway, what I have shared at the beginning of my talk is from the Raja Sutra, where Shakyamuni Buddha talks about the adornments of the Pure Land of Amida Buddha. And it said, there are countless jewels decorated with gold lace, pearls, and 100,000 kinds of rare and precious treasures. And you know, this depiction of the Pure Land as a beautiful place might be intended to direct practitioner's mind to the Pure Land, to aspire to be born into the beautiful place like Pure Land. But some people might say that I have no interest in the place where we go after we die, or the depiction is just a fantasy. But I feel it is pitiful just to understand the Pure Land as a depiction of a beautiful place or the realm of after death. And one of the 7 Pure Land masters, Shantao, in his commentary on the Contemplation Sutra, he said something like, Sutra is warp. Warp holds the weft well and weave a fabric. Each fabric has its unique working. And even though we have beautiful weft, we cannot weave a fabric without warp. And weft would be meaningless without warp. And because of the warp, that means because of the sutra, finally, our lives becomes a life with the core. So I really feel pitiful for accepting the words of the sutra just as a fantasy or meaningless thing. There are a lot of things we could learn from the words of the sutras. You know, there is a Mahayana sutra titled Vimalakirti Sutra. In this sutra, there is a depiction that when Shakyamuni Buddha stamped his feet, the world started to shine like gold. And when he stamped his feet again, the world go back to normal. Do we just understand this depiction as Shakyamuni Buddha had supernatural power, turning something into gold? Or do we understand as this depiction is trying to teach us something? You know, this depiction of the world starting to shine like gold, this is Shakyamuni Buddha indicating us what the realm of enlightenment is like. In the other words, from the eyes of the Buddha, the world is as brilliant as shiny gold. But from the eyes of ordinary beings defiled by blind passions, we cannot see the world like Buddha. We see everything with our convenience, you know, kind of the mind like what is useful, useless, like, dislike, and so on. And I'm not too familiar with his thought, but there was a philosopher named Nishida Kitaro. In his writing, A Study of Good, he discussed pure experience. And pure experience is pure experience before we distinguish something with the idea of subject and object. So in a simple way, it is like water before becoming coffee. Water becomes coffee by going through the filter filled with dark brown coffee. But the water itself originally have no color. And I don't think Kitaro mentioned in A Study of Good, but I feel this idea of the pure experience is close to the idea of one of the Mahayana schools, Yogacara. Yogacara is often translated as consciousness only, but it is more accurate to say representation only. So outside world is only the representation of our impressions and experiences stored in our consciousness. So we are creating the own world outside of the self. And Yogacara divides consciousness into 8 consciousness of visual, auditory, olfactory, gustatory, tactile, mental consciousness, manas, and alaya consciousness. And manas and alaya are subconscious. And alaya is storehouse consciousness where we store all experiences and impressions we acquired from the experiences. And what is troublesome is manas. This is just like the coffee filter. The water becomes coffee by going through the filter filled with coffee, right? So just like this, all the experiences go through manas and add self-centered impressions and, add self-centered impressions to the experiences. And that is why we have differences of like or dislike, even though we eat, drink, or do same things. So we ordinary beings experience everything with the working of manas, so that we are always adding own colors to the world. And there is another Mahayana sutra titled Avatamsaka Sutra, and it said, mind is just like a skillful painter. And this is so true. We are living in the same world and same time, but we all have different worlds. So this is parikalpita, imaginary or imputed nature of the ordinary beings. We attach to our self-centered calculation and see everything with it. On the other hand, Parinibbana is Buddha's view. It is perfected, consummate nature of Buddha, and see everything as they are, as it is, expressed as everything is like shiny gold in Vimalakirti Sutra. So Shakyamuni Buddha stomped the ground and everything started to turn into the color of the brilliant gold. This is expressing the view of the Buddha, and it is not about the supernatural power of the Buddha. So this is the same for the larger sutra. The Pure Land of Amida Buddha adorned with gold and various kinds of jewelries and treasures. This means that the realm of enlightenment or awakening is as shiny as brilliant gold. And this is expressing all beings, regardless of the differences, are equal, and all lives are illumining each other, just as the gold illumines all places. So I believe this is really important teaching, especially in the world right now. The Asian hate appeared on the surface level of the society after the pandemic of COVID-19. But now we have Russia invading Ukraine. It is unacceptable what Putin is doing. And even though the information people of Russia could get is limited, there are still many people who believe in Putin. But this does not mean that people can discriminate Russian people. And I might have talked about it a few weeks ago, but it was Japanese news saying that the Russian market in Japan was vandalized. But actually, the owner of the shop was Ukrainian. The owner wanted to be the bridge between different cultures. But it is sad news that people being targeted by the nationalities, ethnicities, races, genders, and colors of the skin. And this news taught us how it is dangerous and risky to rely on the self-centered mind, which is always affected by the working of the manas. We cannot see like Buddha see the world, but the view of Buddha is taught in the sutra. And as Master Chantal said, the teaching of the sutra is just like a mirror. Through presenting the Buddha's view in the sutra, we realize our ugly self-centered views. So by relying on the words of the sutra, we finally realize how we were living with self-centered views. The world is now in chaos, but because it is in chaos, we should not rely on our self-centered viewpoint, and we should not hurt others through attaching to the self-centered views. Instead, we should self-reflect our self-centered view and live each day relying on the Buddha's view. So today is Ohigan. Ohigan means other shore, the shore of the enlightenment. And for Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, other shore refers to the Pure Land of Amida Buddha. The depiction of the adornments of the Pure Land of Amida Buddha in the sutra is not only about the place where we go after we die, but it also indicates us what the world really should be. And I believe it is a way of living of Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, relying on Buddha's view. And on this occasion of Ohigan, please once again listen to the adornments of the Pure Land and self-reflect our way of seeing the world. So thank you for attending today's service. And in closing, please join me in Gassho. Please put your palms together. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. So this concludes today's spring Ohigan service. And today we have virtual Dharma school. So if you are Dharma school students, please go to the Zoom link for the Dharma school. And rest of you, I hope I am able to see you next Sunday in this Hondo. Next Sunday, we are going back to in-person service. So please check website for the detail. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you in this temple. And if you are living far away from Oregon Buddhist Temple, but watching this service online, Zoom link will be available for the hybrid service. So please look for the Zoom link for the hybrid service from March 27th. So please have a wonderful day and wonderful week, and looking forward to seeing you next week. So thank you for attending today's service. you.